Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's edition or session of Coach's Corner. We would love to give you a warm welcome to this amazing discussion. And I'm sure, the direction of this conversation is going to have some intense, in a good way, impactful messages and experiences to share here. So my name is Jamel Matias. I'm a certified mindset success coach under the legend Bob Proctor. Basically, my brand is believe in the unseen. It's all about believing in yourself, believe in your goal, believe that it's there ready for you. And my purpose is to reveal the potential that's already there within you. And I help individuals, businesses, and entrepreneurs as well basically achieve whatever you want. And I'm in the Maryland area. So I'm going to pass it to my awesome colleague, Alicia.
Hello, everybody. My name is Alicia Espinosa. I am in Sweden, and I am also a certified coach, a values and mindset coach. And I help people to create a life that feels good on the inside. It's like follow your values and, do things that make you happy. That is me, Paul.
Thank you, Alicia. My name's Paul Wooters. I'm in Burlington, Ontario. I'm a Proctor Gallagher consultant, an author, speaker, adventure traveler, but it wasn't always like this. Have you ever felt stuck? I was doing coaching, and that's why I've devoted my life to helping you create the life you want, to help you achieve your most elusive personal and professional goals, and to help you live to your greatest possibilities. And I'll pass it over to Lou Perica.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for joining us. My name is Lou Perica. I am a certified success mindset coach, and I help growth-minded people who truly want more out of life without the hustle, without the grind, without the guilt, to help them shift the way they think so they can live their full purpose in a meaningful and prosperous life. It isn't as difficult as you think it is. And that's why we're here today, to help you understand that success is a system, it's a process, it's a creative process. And we've been sharing with you all kinds of valuable tips and stories and experiences to help grow you. So we hope you stick around, ask questions in the chat, and we're here to help you. Jamel.
Amazing. I'm so grateful to be here and share this with you. And what we're talking about today is massive, as always. And we're actually going in depth on a very powerful article that we study, but it's based on a very powerful speech by Albert Ian Gray, The Common Denominator of Success. Is anybody familiar with that?
A little bit.
Yeah. And I know Earl Nightingale as well did like an audio version of this. And, Lou mentioned success. And I just mentioned Earl, it's the successful, the progressive, help me out here, the progressive realization of a worthy idea. Thank you. See, that's when, your mind moves faster than your mouth. So, it's the progressive realization of the worthy ideal. That was Earl's definition of success. So what is worthy to you? Right? Really ask yourself, like, what do I really want? What do I desire in this life? What do I desire this year? I can't believe it. It's May already. It's May already. It's almost half the year. It's gone by so fast. So this is why, it's very important to get clear on where you're going. And what we're going to discuss today is how this common denominator of success came about. And basically, Albert Gray, he was searching for what is the common underlining denominator of successful people, right? And this is, towards entrepreneurial and sales, but, it's all about habits. It's really about who you're becoming. in who you are. So before reading this, did anybody here ever heard about this speech or article before? You know?
No. And I've been in sales for a long time. This article
No.
never came up.
Yeah, same here. Same here. So it's very powerful. And, for all those that are live here and those that watch the replay and whatnot, feel free to interact with us. Drop some comments, drop some questions live. We'll address them live as well, because we're always here to help and help you basically achieve whatever you want and get clarity. Because if you don't have clarity first internally, nothing matters. You're going all over the place, right?
Yeah.
And you're being the source of, outside source of plaything. Plaything's an outside source. So should I share the screen here, or what kind of introduction should we have here?
Why don't we just start with maybe just the statement that Albert Gray starts with,
Yeah.
about successful people. So I'm just looking at my book, so it's on the right-hand side, the second to last paragraph, where it just says the common denominator of success. That way we don't have to go through a lot of the other stuff. Just to kick it off.
Okay, go ahead and then
Oh,
read
you want
that.
me to? Okay.
Yeah, for some reason it's a little different online, so I'm looking at mine, comparing it to. But yeah, please go ahead, Lou.
Okay. So it says the common denominator of success, the secret of success of every person who has ever been successful, lies in the fact that they form the habit of doing things that others don't like to do. Now, I inserted others. They have failures here. And as Alicia and I, it's a little harsh, so I prefer others. But they form the habit doing things that others don't like to do. And this is what the whole article is based off of. And so I guess I'll go. So when I read that, I've read the what is it, the what's that book, the habit book, the Atomic Habit or something like that.
Yeah.
So so I never realized, I really never even acknowledged my habits. I was just doing. I was just always doing, never really understanding or took the time to explore what my habits were. So when I read this article, it brought a lot of awareness to what is it that I'm actually doing by the time, as soon as I wake up in the morning till the time I go to bed. What are my habitual behaviors that I may not even be aware of? I'm going through the day unconsciously. But I know when I was in sales, we would have to do contacting habits. And I think we're going to be discussing that in this article. And I realize now that I was doing them, but I didn't realize that they wanted me to form the habit. See, I was doing them whenever, right? And I think the article talks about, it's not just doing them when you feel like it, it's doing them consistently, taking the action consistently until it becomes a habit. And that's what I've done well, I shouldn't say recently, with over the past couple of years. I'm developing habits that now as soon as I wake up, I know I go do certain things. I go exercise, et cetera, et cetera. When I get home, I have my 6 activities and I prioritize them. But this has now become a habit. And if I don't do it, and sometimes this is what I think, sometimes we feel guilty taking a day off or something and just relaxing, because you formed the habit of doing something every day. And so that's another thing, like Alicia, you're shaking your head, right? Because you're so used to doing things. And then when you do take a day off just to relax, it feels a little odd. Anyone else?
No, I agree with the habits. I have a habit of meditating in the morning, and sometimes when I am away, because of the schedule or something, or maybe for some reasons I don't meditate. It's like all the time, I am so in the habit of doing that. So I miss that habit when I don't do that. And of course, we should not be slave of our habits either. So it should be a balance. But it is. But I would like to go back to about success, because success, in order to create some habits, we need to know, okay, what is success for me?
That's right. Yeah.
And here is the thing with we value different things. Some people value traveling all the time. Other people is like having time with family, or whatever, money, or studying. For me, for example, is like personal development is a value. So I don't need to force me to study personal development of myself, because it's in my hierarchy
Hierarchy. Hierarchy.
of values. But the things that are more like, it's not in that list of values, I need to deliver, say, this is the value that I need to have in order to achieve that. So to incorporate in my life. For example, one example is that if you are like trying to create a business, for example, and you are the freedom is your value, and then you create a business, but if in your mind the business will not create a freedom, because you need to do things that you don't like, and also it probably will be a difficulty to do the things that you want. Or, for example, if you have a value of safety, and it's also to go to create a business that don't give you safety, is also a little bit difficult. Then you need to start creating that habit of feeling safe without the safety that you have in your head, what it is. So it is very important. For example, also, if you have not the money, if you don't the accumulation of money is not in your value, it maybe every time you sell something, then you use the money to, and then your business have no money. So you need all the time to do a balance there. But you need to, for yourself, to know what success is for you. And the success that you decide should follow your values.
Yeah.
Because then you create your habits.
Yeah.
And the values will be the motivation to do the habit.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. Because everyone has a different definition of success. It's
Yeah.
whatever it is to them. Yeah.
It is. Mm-hmm.
I think Paul's on a little delay.
I think it's really necessary.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Paul.
I think it's really important, as Elise. I think it's really important, as Alicia and Lou were saying, to really examine our habits, and are they in alignment with our purpose? We need to be really, really clear on what it is we want and what our purpose is. And are our habits the things that we're doing? And people are very resistant to change, even when it's for their own improvement. But we have to examine, okay, be very clear. What is our purpose? And are our habits that we're doing, are they in alignment? Are they moving us towards that purpose? Are they part of that purpose? Because we become so accustomed to doing things out of habit, and they're just a real purpose at all. But so, as Alicia was saying, we have to examine it, and they have to really bring them into alignment with what it is we want to do. And so start forming those habits, start forming the habits which bring us towards or help us to step towards our goal. And it can be micro steps initially, because wholesale big changes are often difficult to implement and difficult to keep. So examine and just start micro steps if necessary, but create some habits which are in alignment with what is your purpose is. And most people aren't very clear on what it is they want and what their purpose is. And that is something that we all help people with. That the four of us here help people get real clarity, help them strategize on how they can move towards their purpose and really decide what it is that they really, really want. And as Jamel said at the beginning, a worthy ideal, a goal that is really worthy of you, not something necessarily that you think you can do or you can do, but something that you really, really want, and maybe you don't know how to do it.
Yeah, well shared there, Paul. I kind of want to let me share my screen here and dive in a little bit more on how this came about. I was just rereading the intro there, and right here it says, Albert E.N. Gray, that's based on his speech, the common denominator of success, basically years of experience as a successful executive helped Mr. Gray find answers to the questions you have probably asked yourself. Questions like, how can I avoid failure in this new career, right? How can I manage to succeed in my interesting new position? So basically, Mr. Gray crystallized his thoughts about these common but important doubts that we all experience at some time during our lives. And he incorporated them in this speech called The Common Denominator of Success. So basically, he was searching for reasons why successful people are who they are. And this is, really powerful, because he said, in order for me to explain it, I must know it myself. That's how this came about. And this speech actually raised millions of dollars for, what he was intending to do. I think it was with, it was a college, right? I believe. He's trying to raise money or something. But the point is, everyone who is striving to be something or achieve something can relate to what's being shared here. And Lou mentioned it at the very beginning. Lou mentioned it at the very beginning, said that the common denominator of success, the secret of success of every person who has ever been successful, lies in the fact that they formed the habit of doing things that
Others,
others,
failures.
unsuccessful people don't like to do. All right. They use the word failure. And we know you only fail unless you're only failing when you quit, basically, when you stop progressing, stop growing. Right. So basically forming that habit. Right. And that's what we've been talking about. Just kind of want to give a little background on what this is and how it came about. And there's a huge quote right in the middle of the page. It says, I realized that the secret I was trying to discover lay not only in what people did, but also in what made them do it.
Yes.
That's huge. And that's the why. Right? Why are you what's making you do things you don't want to do? Right? That's very powerful. Did anybody want to touch on that?
Yeah, so the why, right? And this is what stumps a lot of people. But I love, Paul, that what you brought up, because I have it highlighted here too. The average human being is highly resistant to change, even when it's for their own improvement. So I was talking about fear last week and how we just really like to stay in our comfort zone. But Jamel, what were we just talking about? I went off the track.
Oh, yeah, yeah. I see we're jumping forward, but no, it's okay. This is good. I was talking about
Oh,
where
the
you
why,
mentioned.
the why.
Yeah, I realized that the secret I was trying to discover lay not only in what people did, but also in what made them do
Them
it.
do it.
Yeah,
And so thank you.
you're welcome.
So we think when we're setting goals, it's for the getting, whatever that may be, getting more money, getting a better career, getting relationship, getting healthier, whatever the getting is. Um, but it's really not in the getting. It's who you become, but also it's the feeling that you think you're going to have once you achieve something. So I use the example a lot of a driver's license, right? When you go to get your driver's license, it's not actually the license that you care about when you're a youngster. It's the sense of freedom. It's the sense of independence. It's the sense of breaking free from your parents. It's the sense of going to pick up your friends and you're going to go to the movies, right? That's the feeling. So it's always the why is really, it's about the feeling that you think you're going to have. That's the feeling you want when you achieve whatever it is that that you're desiring. It's really never about the money. It's just how you think you're going to feel. How does it feel when you are earning X amount of dollars? How does it feel when you're in that new position? How does it feel to feel healthy? Because we know if you don't feel healthy and you're feeling crappy, that doesn't feel good. When you're not earning the money that you desire to live the lifestyle that you want, it can feel kind of crappy. If you're not doing the things that you're desiring because you don't have the income or the money to do it, right? So it's always really about the why is really about the feeling that you're going to have. And that's what I know, that's what drives me. It's the want. And why do I want to achieve whatever it is that I want? When I was doing my speaking thing last week, I wanted it because I wanted to prove to myself that I could do it.
Mhm.
I just wanted to prove to myself that I can do something that I want to achieve in it. And when I did it, I felt incredible. It wasn't so much about the talk that I gave, but it was who I showed up, who I showed up as. And that felt powerful to me.
Mhm.
So this is why I want to form the habit of getting on more, having more speaking gigs. I want to get into the habit of reaching out to more people to look for speaking gigs because this is what I truly enjoy.
Mhm.
So that's why because I enjoy it so much, I am creating the habit. Instead of just wishing and hoping in my mind, I need to take action, but consistently take action, not just when I get motivated to do something. I have to make it a part of my daily activity, my goal achieving activities. Alicia, I see
Yeah,
her.
I came to the when I story when you talk about driver's license. Why is so important to know why I want this? I have a client. He was like 22, 23 at that time, and he came to me. He was so frustrated about the case that he wanted to 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 travel to Australia, New Zealand, there. And he was telling me that, but every time I have the money, I use that other things, to party, to. I said, why do you want to go to Australia? And he was like, you know what? It's not me. It was my ex-girlfriend's dream to go to Australia and to go to be there one month around there. And I asked him, what is your dream? Because now she is gone. So to go to Australia is not just your dream. And he said, my dream is to take my driver's license. I said, yeah, okay, why? And he told me that, the freedom that he wanted to have. And so I said, okay, set that as a goal. And he has no problem to save the money, because now the goal was aligned with what he wanted to feel, what he wanted in life, not what the ex-girl. So the frustration was when the goal that he it was not aligned with the value, with what he wanted, what he valued in life. So he could not save the money.
Yeah.
So it's why it's so important that it's aligned, because otherwise you will not take the action that you need to take, because it's not in alignment.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that, and also about the motivation, when it is aligned with what we value and the dreams that we have, it will give off the motive to take action. So it will be the motivation. So, yeah.
Well shared, Alicia. That's when you.
Yeah, that's so. Yeah, that is so good. Sorry, I guess I don't have a great connection or something.
Yeah.
But you can see that the underlying message is to really identify your purpose and your want, and as Lou said, the results. Like, imagine the results that you want, and as Alicia said, that is going to motivate you. You have to realize, as Lou said, whatever the person that you want to become, whatever it is that you want in your life, and that's going to motivate you, that's going to drive you, but you have to really be clear on what that is. The real successful person, as it says in this article, they're influenced and they're motivated for that desire, for that pleasing result that they have in their mind. Whereas other people are often influenced for a pleasing method, an easy way. And then they're just inclined to be satisfied with that result by doing the things that, that they like to do. And that's why you see so often on television, here is this new gadget. You can get abs in 5 minutes a day, or you can get this improvement in just minutes a day. Right? If that was the case, then we would all be Olympic athletes, right? If it was just, you don't see Olympic athletes with these gadgets doing things 5 minutes a day. And so people are really influenced by, hey, here's an easy method. Here's an easier method to do this thing. And that, whatever the results are, they become very satisfied, and they, fall into that little trap, and they just don't get anywhere. And that would be very, very frustrating.
Yeah.
I was going to add that some people also. Yeah, go ahead, Jamel.
Yeah, the delay is. This is amazing. This is awesome. Yeah, I definitely didn't want to interrupt your train of thought there. But yeah, David brought up a good, comment here. He says, "Isn't it funny how we talk to ourselves?" Right? We, on many sessions here. Look at Alicia getting ready. Are you listening to that empowering self, or that self that wants to hold you back? Right? The comfort zone is pretty much disintegration, right? You're not growing there. So comfort zone is quite often what is killing or preventing us from success. Absolutely. Right? If you've been comfortable for many, many years, what are you doing with your life? Right? You're allowing, it's called a drifter, right? You're allowing your old self just to hold on, and you're not taking any type of effort outside of your comfort zone, basically shedding that old self. And he says, preventing us from success, yet sacrifice is hard. Now that is inner speech. Sacrifice, it depends on your perception, right? And it's a lot of times people look at sacrifice as a negative. You have to remove things of a lower nature to make room for things of a higher nature. So sacrifice, I like to see that as a positive, because look what I'm doing for my future self today. Look what I'm doing right now for my future self. There's my sacrifice, right? I get happy about it. A lot of people have a negative perception on sacrifice. Sacrifice is not hard. Sacrifice is fun. There's my affirmation. So to give up and the excuses we give ourselves. Oh, excuses. What does Bob say? They're what's one thing is to have an excuse. And the worst thing is to have a better excuse on why you're not doing it. So what excuse is your limited beliefs, your limited paradigm, your limited self-image, trying to basically say, hey, I'm right. At least probably have our little devil. Oh, I'm right. You need to listen to me. It's an excuse for you to be back in that comfort zone, and it'll happen repeatedly over and over and over until you say, I had enough. I'm so tired of sick and tired of being sick and tired of being this old version of me. It's time for change, right? So there was something in.
I would like to say something about what David said, because I have the devils in my head. I don't know if you want that, if you have that, but I have that, and they have a conversation when I have a goal. My dreamer in me have a conversation like, oh, I want this. Then suddenly this part of the guys here is the part of the doer in me, and they start to have a conversation why I cannot do that. And then they come with a story why I'm not able to do that. And we have only two things that stop us: social oppression and self-oppression. When we self are the enemy of ourselves, we let the circumstances, we let the paradigms, we let these guys come with a lot of different excuses for why it is causes this, like, oh, this is because you cannot do this and this and this. And if you are not alert, you will believe that. So we need to no way. And I also about the what is the comfort zone. That is because in the comfort zone we know what it is, and the outside the comfort zone, it is the unknown. And I normally say that this is, I don't know about you, but I was very afraid of the darkness. When I walk outside and it was dark, I was so afraid of that. And then I realized that the reason I am afraid, I was afraid of that, is because I cannot see what is beyond the lights, that is near to me. I cannot see what is that. So because I could not see, I was afraid that something will happen. And this is what happened with the comfort zone. We don't know when we cross this comfort zone what happened, what is waiting for us there. And when we cannot see that, we will be afraid. And I say, but it's like driving a car in the darkness. You only see some meters, in front of you, and the lights will show you the road. And it's the same. Take the first step, and you will see more when you are there. That's what I wanted to say.
Absolutely. It's absolutely right. We're the only problem and the only solution,
Yeah.
right? And that's faith versus fear, right? So I love it. Yeah, there was something in the article that was pretty huge that we kind of flew by there, and this is relates to everyone, right, including us. Mr. Gray says, of course, like most of us, I had been brought up on the popular belief that the secret of success is hard work. But I had seen so many people work hard without succeeding, and so many people succeed without working hard, that I had become convinced that hard work was not the real secret, even though in most cases it might be one of the requirements. That is huge. A lot of people think, including myself, if I just work harder than everyone else, I will succeed. And I've seen many people not work as hard as me. And then I was like, why are they succeeding? By, not working hard. We can do a whole episode just on that little paragraph. Anybody want to dive in there? I thought we'll kind of talk about that a little bit, because it's a lot of people believe that, right, to this day.
I'll jump in. Okay. So when we don't understand the creative process, when we don't understand that success works by or happens by law, when you don't understand the universal laws, even when someone is successful, they could be an unconscious competent. They're not aware of universal laws. They're not aware of how their mind really works, how the creative process works. They're just doing it. And when someone asks them, well, how did you become successful? The typical answer is work hard, right? Give it your all. And they will touch upon some of these success principles that we discuss, but they don't know how to weave it all together because they're an unconscious competent. Sometimes they just enjoy the money. They don't even care how or what, they're just enjoying the money. But in order to pass your knowledge on to your children or onto others, to inspire people, to mentor people, when you understand the process, now people believe that they too can be successful because it's a lawful process. It's a creative process. So once you become consciously aware that success, whatever you deem success to be, is possible for everyone because you were created to succeed, not to fail, although failing is part of the success process. But when you understand that, you don't look at it as beating you up. I just did a quick thing on fear the other day. And what happens is most people, we all have dreams. You have to. That's the divine essence within you is always wanting to express itself in a greater way. So everyone has it. Now you may suppress it, you may ignore it, but it is there. And what happens is when you do start to dream, you have a belief that you can do something. Like in your conscious mind, you're thinking about this thing that you want to do. And that when you start to get emotionally connected, when you really start to consider doing this thing, now you have the belief up here, you're introducing it to your old belief. and there's clashing going on. This is where the fear comes in. And then you go, ooh, I don't like the feeling of fear. I don't like the feeling of the unknown. And most of us, when I look back in my life, as soon as that feeling came up, whoop, no, thank you. It must mean danger. That's how I would interpret it. It must mean danger. But I didn't understand it meant growth. It simply means that fear is it's not a stop sign, it's a signal that you're about to do something you're not familiar with. That's all it is. Like a rocket fails its way to its target. When it's on course, it doesn't notify you. You only get a signal when you're off course. So the same thing with fear, and this is why developing the habits of doing something that you're not comfortable with, but when you're emotionally connected with whatever desire you want to experience, you'll understand that fear is part of the process, but you'll do it knowing that fear is not there to stop you and warn you. It's simply there to let you know you're about to do something you've never done before. And this is the adventure of life. This is the adventure of life. This is what makes life exciting. Just doing things like getting up on a stage or doing a Facebook Live or coaching people, or if you're in sales, picking up the phone, calling people, or door knocking. These are all these are uncomfortable things, but you must understand this is just part of the growth. And with that knowledge, it just makes it not necessarily easier, but in a way easier because you understand it's just part of the process. If I truly desire X, then this is part. I love this part here. I have it highlighted. A couple of things. Successful people have a purpose strong enough to make them form the habit of doing things that they don't necessarily like to do in order to accomplish the purpose that they want to accomplish. But it is easier, most people find it easier to adjust themselves to the hardships of a poor living than it is to adjust themselves to the hardships of making a better one. Oh, I just love that. Most people will just retreat. That feeling of fear and being uncomfortable, I don't like that. So it must be a warning signal to me not to do it. No. It just means you're about to do something you're not familiar with. But most people don't like that feeling and they'll retreat. Anyone?
Yeah, I wanted to say about this, about retreat that you say, that people try and then retreat. And the thing is that when we go for a goal, for a big goal, then we need to change something. Yeah. And when we start to change, when we meet what we call the river of change, and the river of change is you go towards that change, and then you feel like scary because it's uncomfortable. Then you go back not because it's right, but because it's familiar.
Mm-hmm.
But if you stay there and you continue, if at the beginning it's very uncomfortable, and then it's chaotic, and then on the other side, if you continue, then it will be so nice. But people go back instead of thinking that, okay, I'm here to learn or to win. It's not a failure, or you win or you learn.
Mm-hmm.
And then you take what you learn to take next step. It's like stepping stone towards your goal. This is something that I always think about, and also asking me all the time, I'm willing to pay the price, not to sacrifice something, but I'm willing to pay the price
Yeah.
to go through this change. Yeah.
That's right. Paying the price. Right. And that reminds me of something. What you invest your money in and your time in is basically what you value. It's the roadmaps to what you truly value.
Yeah.
And that's why it's important to learn more about yourself and what we share here every Sunday at Coach's Corner. But even outside of this as well, you know, we all talk to individuals and people. And this is why mentorship is essential to your future that you desire. It's great having these conversations, but, you know, really look at what you do with your time. Are you binge watching every show known to man and woman, or are you really learning about yourself so that way you can create, you know, the future that you really want and have the money that you want? So there's something that really jumped out in the article as well. It's huge as well. This article is packed with so much, and this is even before the habits, right? And Lou touched on it a little bit as well. Let me share my screen so you can see it. It says, perhaps you have wondered why it is that those who accomplish most seem to like to do the things that you don't like to do. And Mr. Gray says they don't. And I think this is the most important and encouraging statement I have ever offered any person. But if they don't like to do these things, then why do they do them? And this is huge here. Because by doing the things they don't like to do, they can accomplish the things they want to accomplish. Now, let me repeat that. Successful people are influenced by the desire for pleasing results. Unsuccessful people are influenced by the desire for pleasing methods and are inclined to be satisfied with such results as can be obtained by doing things they like to do. that one is so I laugh because that was me. That's probably everyone here and people that are viewing as well. Did anybody want to talk about that? Am I the only one that jumped out?
Maybe we can wait Paul, because Paul have a delay.
Yeah,
so maybe we can listen to Paul.
Good idea, Alicia.
Thank you, Alicia. Yeah, so there's a great number of points, and you know, something that David said about our comfort zone, and that tied into what Lou was saying. You know, the unknown, that fear of the unknown, right? We always think that, okay, we're afraid of that because we're afraid of failure, instead of being excited about the good that may happen, or the growth, as Lou said, the growth that will occur. Yeah, so the fear is there to give us, as Lou said, a little bit of a warning, just to check in, but not to back off. And then also, as Alicia said, and we talked about it previously, a failure is just giving us feedback. Okay, we did something incorrectly, or it didn't work out the way we would have liked. Maybe we need to do more of this, less of that. It's like an experiment. All experiments aren't successful the first time around. You have to make little tweaks. But, you know, David talked about comfort zone, and Lou talked about that fear of the unknown. So what we do is we build a self-imposed prison for ourselves. And, you know, Bob calls it, when we talked about the terror barrier, about being in bondage. So we keep ourselves in that comfort zone, even though not really want to be. It's just comfortable. And it's just, we just feel a little bit afraid, fear of, you know, what are people going to say? What's going to happen to me if I make that step? But we really have to start being excited what could go right, and really know that beyond that comfort zone is an opportunity for us to grow, to really grow. But you really have to go back to identifying what your purpose is, what it is you really want. And realize that, and the word sacrifice came out, and Jamel pointed out very clearly, very well, it's not a sacrifice. It's just putting things of a lesser nature so that you can have things of a higher nature, so that you can really create and be the person and get the things and do the things that you really, really want to do. Thank you, Alicia.
I came with the when you talk about doing the things that that I don't like to do. I came with the in my mind came my neighbors. I have a neighbors there, and they have a beautiful garden. I was, and mine is like, like, oh my gosh, I rather sit, listen to a presentation or a seminar rather than go to the garden. And they are always outside, picking, doing everything. And I came, okay, so I understand that I don't like to do that because I don't have the knowledge. And because I don't have the knowledge, I don't prioritize that. So I decided that, okay, I need to change that because it's beautiful. I like to see that it's beautiful what they do. So I enrolled in a training with the garden. So I'm doing a training in gardening. So I now find that, oh, this is so interesting. Why you don't do this and do this? And now I also go out and do the things because based on the knowledge that, okay, this is what I need to do. I still not 8 hours outside like they are, but I am doing the thing. And this also, when it comes to personal development, when you don't know, when the knowledge is not there, how to do that, it's uncomfortable doing the things by yourself. So it's why it's so important to set time, and your resources is the time and money and energy to do the thing. And here is like, when you start to understand yourself, the knowledge about yourself, oh my gosh, then you will don't want to quit.
Yeah.
I tell you, this is so nice to start to learn about yourself. This is what I
Absolutely.
wanted to say. I came with it.
I love what Jamel said, Jamel, and thank you, right? So, what you invest your time and money in, because think of it, those are probably, other than family, those are two things that we really have up high on a pedestal as a priority, is time and money, right? And it really does show you what you value and what's important to you. So, we're talking about habits, and I always, when I think about our habits, right? And they probably all start at a very early age. Our beliefs, our habits, our fixed ideas. I think of them as little boxes in my subconscious mind. And I think of them like a file cabinet. There's so much in these file cabinets, there's hardly any room left, right? Because I know how to do me. I already know how to do me. So it's all in my file cabinet. But in order to create a new habit, I have to make space. Right now, it's jam packed with all kinds of habits and fixed ideas and beliefs. So I have to create the space. This is why the desire, why do I want to achieve or experience X, Y, and Z? Why is that so important to me? So if that truly is important to me, if it's truly something that I want to invest the time, invest the money, invest the energy in, I need to take out an old habit, right? And replace it with something new, a new habit. So you must create the space for a new habit by take out one of the old habits. Let's say, for an example, you wake up at 12 o'clock noon, for an example. And you say, I would probably be more productive if I woke up at whatever, 6 or 7. Okay, well, let's take out that old habit box that you wake up at noon and put the new habit box. I wake up at whatever, 6 or 7, and accept it. Accept it as part of your being now. This is who I am. This is who I show up as. You know, we're talking about a lot about habits and the doing, but it's also, it's the being the person that does the habit. When you've accepted yourself as this person, whether it's, again, earning X amount of dollars, a different position in your career, whatever that thing is, be that person now. It's be, do, have. Be that person that does those activities, that has those habits, that has those values. Do the habits, do the activities, and then you will have the effect, right? But we have to be the cause. But we need to, again, that's how I like to look at it. I'm taking out an old habit. Oh, waking up at 12 noon is not serving me, and let me replace it with a new habit. But don't just take it out and not replace it, because another bad habit will just fill it in. So this is why it's very important, whenever you're changing a habit, to replace it with something new that will serve you.
Yeah, I love it, Lou. That's great. And I'm always, I love be, do, have, right? You become, then you can have, excuse me, become, you're doing, and then you can have, right? A lot of us think if I do this, I can have that, then I can become that. Most people think that. So you want to reverse it, right? And this is
the price, right? That's the price.
Yeah, it is. And this is, to be honest with yourself, right? Be objective, reflective. This is not to beat you down. This is to build you up to the version of whatever it is that you desire. I love this article so much because it's starting to trigger even more. And I definitely wanted to share these key points before we head out today. And obviously, we'll do a part 2 to this, right? Are we?
Yeah.
Part 2? Okay. So just to share a few things that just hammered home here, where are we? Here. Why are successful people able to do things they don't like to do while unsuccessful people are not? Because successful people have a purpose strong enough to make them form the habit of doing things they don't like to do in order to accomplish the purpose they want to accomplish. So let's skip down here. Many people with whom I have discussed this common denominator of success have said at this point, but I have a family to support and I have to have a living for my family and myself. Isn't that enough of a purpose? No, it isn't. It isn't a sufficiently strong purpose to make you form the habit of doing the things that you don't like to do, for the very simple reason that it is easy to adjust ourselves. This is one of my favorite parts here. That it is easy to adjust ourselves to the hardships of a poor living than it is to adjust ourselves to the hardships of making a better one. If you doubt me, just think of all the things you're willing to go without in order to avoid doing the things you don't like to do. All of which seems to prove that the strength that holds you to your purpose is not your own strength, but the strength of the purpose itself.
Oh, so good.
So good.
Wow. I just wanted to get that out on this episode.
Amen.
But Paul, anything you want to add to that, Paul?
He's frozen.
Yeah. No, I'm here. So yeah, no, that's great. I'm glad that you finished on that. It's very powerful, Jamel. But yeah, and so I just want to add this because it's somewhere in this article that some people think that they're born with certain dislikes that are unique to them, and that the successful people that we're talking about, they're not afflicted by those things. But that's not the case, right? And as Jamel said, it's driven by your purpose. And we have to, and again, you know, it's repeat that if you have clarity on your purpose, you and what successful people, they're driven by the pleasing result. They're driven by the achieving. We had that.
Okay.
Ladies, anyone want to add to that or to what was shared at the?
I think at the end of the day, again, this is all about. I love. I've shared this a few times, but I just fell in love with it so much when I heard Michael Beckwith say, "Ask yourself, what was my mind like before it was programmed?" So whenever we want to shift a habit, or why do we have it, the habits that we have, most of them have been created not because it's something that we truly wanted, but because we were watching what other people were doing unconsciously, and we picked up habits. So developing a habit may seem challenging, but if you truly want to experience something new, something that you truly love, and I know we get caught up in the word purpose an awful lot. You know, what is my purpose? What is my purpose? Does it mean to climb a mountain? It's what do you truly love? What is that spark in you that wants to be expressed? And it could be a couple of things, but let's focus on one. What is that spark within you that wants to use you to bring it forth? What is that? And then you start thinking about that person. What does that person, how do they think? How do they behave? What are their habits? Because most likely it'll be a different version of you than your current version now. But this is what the growth process is, right? So you can go mentally, you can think about the person who has achieved a new position or is earning X amount of dollars, whatever that is. Like, you can go in your mind and say, well, what would they be doing? You may not have all the answers, but you'll definitely have a start. And you'll be able to say, oh, how is that different from my current version? Because the answers are always there. There can't be a question without an answer. So just explore, ask yourself, what is it that I truly want? And what new habits, what things do I have to start taking action on in order to experience, in order to contribute, in order to have the life that I truly want to have?
Mhm. Yeah, I want to also to finish. I see the picture of Paul's picture behind with the mountains, and independent what you choose in life, you are claiming mountain. And the important to have a clear vision of what do you want is very important, because you better know that, because when you are claiming, you are not coming to the top and then discover that you are claimed the wrong mountain. So it's why to really be clear, what do I really want? What is my purpose? What are my values? And then when you do that, then you can start clean.
I love it. I love it. And you don't want to climb the wrong mountain, right? But you know, sometimes you need that journey to realize what the right one is.
That's right.
But let that quote kind of resonate with you as we close here. You know, it says it is easier to adjust ourselves to the hardships of a poor living. So what is a poor living? It's basically your lower self, right? We're unlimited beings full of unlimited potential. So it's easier to adjust ourselves to the hardships of a poor living than it is to adjust ourselves to the hardships of making a better one.
Mm, so
So
true.
Yeah, it's just a shift, right? And that's why we're all here to help you with that shift. So that way you're not alone. And, speaking of that, our call links are in the description of whatever platform you're watching this on. Reach out to us. We'd love to meet you and love to see what mountain you want to climb, right? Because it's unique to everyone and whatever you desire. This has been such a great conversation. I love this article so much. I remember doing a 60-day challenge as well. And as I see it, it's coming back in my memory. So this has been amazing. So stay tuned for part 2 next Sunday, 10 a.m. Eastern time. And we'll dive in deeper with some of the other, basically the habits you want to basically tap into and some other things that jump out in this article. So anyway, make sure you reach out to us.
Remember,
take that action.
Shift happens.
I like that.
Shift happens.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.